What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Birds in the Trap MMA YouTube channel. Okay, we're back, and we're going to talk about UFC 287 today. But before I get into that, I just got to address a few things, okay? Every video I say I want to upload more, and then I just get so swamped, you know what I mean? So I'm saying now, I'm sorry that the videos are inconsistent, but to make up for that, because I'm a busy guy, I can't just sit here all day and talk about this shit. So the way I'm going to try and make the videos better in the future is I'm going to get a better microphone, first of all. And I'm going to try and not make the videos in Google Slides anymore. I want to find something actually like a real I don't even know, like a real thing I can present my thoughts in that isn't Google Slides, even though Google Slides works fine. I just want to figure out something better. And number 3, okay, we got face cam. What's up? All right, if you think I'm ugly, that's completely fine. Please leave a comment if you think I'm ugly, because I want the engagement. But I mean, most of y'all know what I look like. Most of y'all know me in real life. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing the face cam now, just because I like it. I've been watching a lot of YouTubers and they do the face cam, and I'm like, you know what, it makes the video a little more engaging and more personal. So I'm gonna do that. So yeah, this is what I look like. I'm here, I'm in my bedroom. I just got this tattoo on my arm. It's a fucking dragon. It's sick. But yeah, I'm here. I'm just a little white boy talking about MMA in my bedroom. What can I say? But yeah, so I'm gonna try and look at the camera as much as I can, but my presentation's right here, so I'm gonna be looking down. So anyways, that's what I'm gonna do for the channel. Okay, we got some big changes coming up, and now let's get into UFC 287. I am so excited for this card. This might be the most hyped I've been for a card. Yeah, because like the only one that can rival it was probably UFC 285. And I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I was excited for John Jones to come back and all, but the rest of the card was great, but I think the rest of this card is even better. So far this is my favorite card of the year. And yeah, you guys know it. We got Pereira versus Adesanya and Masvidal versus Burns. Okay, this is not a prediction video. This is not. I'm gonna do that on Friday. Okay, because I'm gonna try and be consistent with the UFC 287 content this week. So this is coming out today. This is Wednesday, the 5th, and I'm only saying that so that I will. And then I'm gonna do a video tomorrow, and then I'm gonna do my predictions on Friday. So let's just go through what I think of the matchups here. I don't want to like give away my picks, but it might be kind of obvious. Okay. First things first. Okay. First things first. Alex Pereira. Let's talk about him first. He's a champion. He deserves to be mentioned first. Poatan Shama. Poatan. His pros. Okay. He is better at kickboxing, obviously. But is he? Maybe not. But what I mean by this is not that he's technically better, because I still feel like, I mean, I know they keep fighting, but it's still hard to tell, and I'll get into why I think that. But what I say by better kickboxer is that he is less removed from kickboxing. You know what I mean? Like, 2 years ago, he was still doing kickboxing title fights. And he's still tight with that space, you know what I mean? Like, Izzy kind of just stopped kickboxing and then kind of just forgot about it, you know what I mean? And so I think that since Izzy has transitioned to just MMA, his pure kickboxing has gotten worse than Alex Pereira, because I mean, Alex is like still tight with the guys in that space, the guys he's training with, pro boxers, pro kickboxers that have fought Adesanya. You know what I mean? So when I say better kickboxer, I'm not just saying technique, just standing in front of him. I'm saying like he's less removed from just kickboxing. He's still tight in the community. He still has his boys that can kickbox training him. And then right here I say Alex can end the fight whenever he wants. He just has to go. And I mean that because, I mean, we saw Alex, it kind of took him till the 5th round. He was motivated because it was the 5th round. But we see that all he really has to do is just stand in front of him, you know what I mean, and just punch. I know how stupid that sounds, but it's what he did, you know. He just got in there and walked him down. And I think if he does that in the first round, he'll knock him out. Do I think he should, though? I don't know. But I do think that Alex can end the fight when he wants. Like, I think he can choose when to be like, okay, I'm going to put my foot on the gas, and he's probably going to be out of here, you know? Another pro. 3-0. 3-0. Alex is probably more hungry to defend the belt, okay? Because especially on this card where you're making a ton of pay-per-view points, Alex is walking away with, you know, a 7-figure check on Saturday. And Israel Adesanya, he has defended the belt so many times. He makes so much when he fights, you know, he's set for life. We know that. Now, Alex Pereira is also probably, like, set for life. Like, I'm sure he's making good money now that he's UFC champ and shit. But the more he defends that shit, he's just gonna keep making more money. You know what I mean? And he's got kids. He's got a family. Does Izzy have kids? Real question, does he? I don't think he does. And I'm not saying that's gonna be a major factor. Like, oh, Alex has kids. But it's gonna make him more hungry to keep getting the pay-per-view points. Whereas Adesanya's had all that. Now another pro. First, well, he's scary. That was there before I said, and not as emotional. But when I say not as emotional, like, Alex just saw Izzy doing well in the UFC and was like, oh my god, I beat that guy. Like, let me go do that. And then he went and did it. You know what I mean? That's it. He just saw that Izzy was successful and he wanted to be successful too. That's it. But Izzy, you know, he's making it very deep, which, I mean, how can you not after going 3-0 to the guy? But, you know, he's making it very emotional, and he's making it like it's some deep rivalry. And, you know, even after the last time they fought, Adesanya was like, hey, I don't like you, you don't like me, but respect. I don't think Adesanya doesn't like, or I don't think Pereira doesn't like Adesanya. I think he thinks Adesanya's fine. I think he just realizes that he can beat him, you know what I mean? But Izzy is like, oh, the hunter's being hunted, or whatever he's saying. I don't keep score, I settle him. It's just stupid, man. Like, Izzy, it's just competition, bro. Like, this guy, on paper, yes, he's like your worst nightmare and shit, but I don't think it's a rivalry. I think Alex just likes to beat him. So he doesn't have those emotions going into it. Also, not to mention, Alex has won every fight. I mean, I know I'm stating the obvious here, but he has the confidence, you know? Can that be bad against Adesanya? Only if he leaves himself open. So his cons is, of course, he lacks the experience. But with that, I think he can get better quicker. Like, Alex Pereira is 7-1 right now. That's insane. Adesanya 23-2. So, you know, obviously he lacks the experience, but I think that he's still in a point in his career where he can learn more in between fights. That makes sense, right? You guys know what I'm saying. So I think he's just still at a point where he can learn more in between fights, but he still lacks the experience, no doubt. Can't wrestle. Very unfortunate, you know. It's not like it really matters too much against Adesanya, but Adesanya was controlling him in the last fight. And I'm just like, bro, if you're being controlled by Adesanya, that's not great. That's not great. I think one of the biggest factors going into this fight is Pereira's weight cut. You know, like, is Pereira, like, Izzy kind of has to pray Pereira has a bad weight cut. You know what I mean? And you know, that's such a bad thing to rely on because he's made weight every time and he wins his fights. But we know he's gonna walk into the octagon at like 220, or maybe not 220, but at least 215, 210. He cuts a lot of weight. You know what I mean? And I also wouldn't be surprised if this is his last time making 185, win or lose. He might win this fight, say fuck it. He might lose this fight, say fuck it, because I mean, why? What else is there to prove down there? You know, he beat the champ twice that he already beat twice. 4-0. Hopefully, not hopefully. That's not my prediction. That's not my prediction. This is not a prediction video. But Stylebender's pros. Okay, he has a safe fighting style, which, look, I hate. I do. His fights are so boring. I had all my friends come over for the UFC 276 card, where he fought Cannonier and Holloway, fought Volk, and Pereira fought Strickland on that card. And I was really like, I was kind of worried that the fight was gonna be boring, but I was like, no, Izzy's gonna, like, surely he's not gonna make it too boring, right? Wrong. He makes it too boring. You know, he just kicks, jabs. So when I say safe fighting style, that is a pro, because, you know, he is very lucid. He's very evasive. He likes to, you know, he has great head movement. You know, he has a good fighting style. But, you know, it's just when you have someone who puts the pressure on him, that's where we see his issues. But he has a safe fighting style, even though it's boring. I would say boring fighting style, but I'm gonna call it safe for this video because it's a pro. And yeah, you know, that can help him out, and it clearly was helping out in their last fight, which was not as close as people think, man. Like, Alex Pereira was winning the first 2 rounds. The only thing he lost, like, what made him lose the first round was getting rocked at the end, you know. So that's, and the third was all just Izzy on top. And in the fourth, I don't even remember. But I think they were on the feet, and I think Izzy won it. But still, so I mean, it arguably could have been 2-2 going into the fifth, with Alex winning the fifth, from what we saw in the fifth, obviously. So I know that was kind of a little side rant, but that their first fight in MMA is not, Izzy was not dominating him. You know what I mean? I feel like anyone who watches that can see that Izzy wasn't dominating him, and we'll get into that when we get to his cons. But he has better wrestling. You know, it's kind of crazy to say that about Adesanya against anybody, but he's fighting Alex Pereira. You know what I mean? Who can't fucking wrestle for shit. So he has better wrestling, and he's more experienced, obviously, because if a con for Pereira is his lack of experience, a pro for Izzy will be his experience. You know, he's had so many title fights. He's gone the distance so many times. You know, he has great cardio, and yeah. But, you know, the only thing we have to worry about with his experience is that it's all been stand-up mainly. So if he wants to wrestle in this fight, I mean, he might get tired quick doing something so foreign to him. He might gas himself out if he does go the wrestling route. Oh, I forgot I have this here. That wrestle, brother, control your hips probably made no sense without Nurmagomedov right there. But yeah, like, Izzy can wrestle and win this fight, but he's not going to. He's not going to, because I heard him in an interview say he wants to prove his style or some shit, or like make sure they didn't forget, or, you know, some cringy shit that Izzy would say. But and he probably has the higher fight IQ overall. I know that, you know, he hasn't beat Alex Pereira, but the way that Alex wins is kind of just like finding the win. You know what I mean? It's not much of a strategy win. I hope I'm making sense, but I would say that Adesanya has the higher overall fight IQ, especially in MMA. And we saw that, you know, we saw that in some striking exchanges, and we saw that in the grappling. We saw him get that trip takedown. So yeah. Now, Stylebender cons. 0-3. 0-3. And he's smaller. It's weird to say Izzy is smaller than his opponent, but he is for once, you know? Or for the third time, because he has not beaten anyone bigger than him. Jan Blachowicz, bigger than him, beat Izzy. Alex Pereira, bigger, beat him. So it's clearly a disadvantage that he is smaller, not just in height or reach, or I think that he has a smaller reach, I think, right? But in weight, you know, Alex Pereira is gonna outweigh him by 25 pounds, 30 pounds. And he is talking in complete delusion. And this is the point I want to drive home about these guys. Like, I heard Izzy in one interview saying that while Alex was teeing off on him, he was like, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, take him down again and beat him up on the ground. But then in another interview, he was like, oh, I was gonna get my right hook ready from when I was down there. Which just tells me that he's lying. He came up with two different things, you know? And he is in absolute delusion about losing this fight. And everyone's talking about how well he's taken the loss, but all I can see is how poorly he's taken the loss. You know, he has a completely wrong assessment of the first fight. He does. He thinks that, oh, I tripped because not the trip where he did the somersault, the trip before the KO, okay? When he did that little trip, he blamed that on Alex kicking his leg or the check. But it's like, dude, no, it wasn't that. It's because if it was that, why didn't it affect him at any other point, you know? So, you know, he's already making excuses for why he was stumbling around in there. And then, you know, we've all seen the knockout. Israel is down there. His hands are like this, and he's just standing like this, you know? And he was saying, like, oh, I was just waiting, and then I was going to swing up my right hook and be elusive. But it's like, dude, no. There was still 2 minutes, right, in that round? Something like that. There's still 2 minutes of him standing in front of you. You're already hurt. You know, it's like Izzy just can't accept he was rocked, you know? And it is ridiculous that everyone says, or, you know, praises how well he was taking the loss. He didn't take the loss well, in my opinion. And he's in complete delusion. And, yeah. Masvidal versus Burns, okay? I feel like this could potentially be the fight of the night, you know? Like, if both guys bring it. But will they? Alright. Masvidal pros. I think he's still a great striker. Maybe not as great as he was in 2019. But I think that he's underrated, man. I think people are counting him out. And he has knockout power in his hooks. You know what I mean? Like, probably not the most powerful jab, but I mean we saw the Till knockout, of course. Those were with hooks, and he put Till out cold. So I still feel like he has power, especially in his hooks. And he has pretty good submission defense as well. I'm not saying it's the best, but I'm saying that it's good, and I know he's been working on it more and more since the Colby fight. And you know, so those are some great pros for Masvidal. However, his cons, okay, no recent wins. Most recent win, Nate Diaz in 2019. Not good. And also just not as active. Or not active in general. Not as active as anyone. But not active in general, you know, fighting once a year. Older and slower. He's 38 right now. That's kind of crazy. And on paper, that's not good. I think Gilbert is kind of up there too, though. I don't know exactly. I think he's like 36, 35, 34. I don't know. He's in his mid-30s, so he's up there. And, you know, Masvidal might not be hungry anymore. He just might not be. Which is unfortunate because I like when he wins. I like Masvidal. I think he's a good character to have in the UFC. But only when he's winning, you know? Because when he's losing, his street Judas persona is just way worse, you know? If he was winning and then he allegedly assaulted Colby, people would be like, oh, Jorge's a gangster. But now that he was losing and then he allegedly assaulted Colby, you know, everyone's like, oh, Jorge sucks. But, you know, I think all it takes is one good win for Jorge and people love him again. Now, Burns pros. Burns is hungry. Burns wants the title. I know Masvidal wants the title, but Burns needs the title in his life. You know what I mean? He's hungry. He's very hungry. He's more well-rounded. He has a great ground game. He has great striking. He's very powerful, and he's been more active than Masvidal, of course. And by more active, I mean like 2 fights. The Khamzat fight and the Magny fight. But still, that's something, you know? Now, Burns cons. There's not a lot of cons with Burns, man. Like, all I can say is he's susceptible to the jab, you know? He got finished by Usman with a jab. And Khamzat dropped him with a jab. So, and you know, Masvidal's a great striker. So, it's something to think about. It's something to think about. I'm not giving an official prediction right now, but I mean, it's looking good for Burns. It is, but I still need to think about it. I do. All right, now let's talk about the other fights on the card. I put the notable ones that I'm gonna watch, and all the other ones probably just gonna skip. Not gonna lie, but yeah, you can hate me for that, but I'm just not watching all that early prelim shit. That's when I get my food and stuff ready for the main card. But anyways, Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. Someone is going out in this fight. I believe that. Yeah, it should be a great fight. I feel like this has fight of the night on it as well, or maybe even KO of the night. You know, I mean, look at these guys. And you know, Santiago Ponzinibbio, he's coming off a win at UFC 282, I believe. I'm coming up with that off the dome, so if I'm wrong, sorry. But Kevin Holland is coming off 2 losses. One of them, of course, was to Khamzat Chimaev, which I'm not saying I don't count that, but we have to look at the circumstances of that fight, being that it was on 1 day's notice. So, but then, you know, he had the fight with Stephen Thompson, which was a great fight. And, like, I don't think his stock really lowered from that, but he lost it, you know? And I don't think his stock lowered from the Khamzat fight either. So he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but he's still popular, and, like I'm still excited to watch him fight, you know? So I think a good win here, and he, you know, it's good. If he loses, though, that's not good. That's a 3-fight losing streak, and I honestly don't really know where he'd go from there. I don't want to talk about that until this event is done. When this event is done, we'll talk about what's next for everyone. But yeah, that should be a banger fight. Someone is going out. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. Okay, I don't have too many thoughts on this matchup. Before my prediction video, I'm gonna watch some more tape on Christian Rodriguez. But you know, I've seen Raul Rosas at UFC 282, and I've seen him on the Contender Series. And look, like, the kid looks good. He's a kid. He's like 20 days older than me, I think, which is crazy. Makes me think what I could have done. Just kidding. I don't want to be a UFC fighter, man. I like watching from a distance. But like, as of right now, like, my pick for, I'll say my pick for this one, it's Raul, because I want to see him go far, you know? Like, I want to root for him, and you know, I'm hoping the best. But that's not my official prediction, because I have to watch tape on Christian Rodriguez. But what I've seen from Raul Rosas Jr. is good, but you know, I really don't know how it's gonna transfer over into this bantamweight division, because he's fighting bantamweight, which is stacked. And you know, California wrestling. Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. This should be a banger too. All of these fights can be fight of the night. Are you kidding me? Yeah, we got number 6 versus number 13 in the bantamweight division. Absolute banger of a fight. Rob Font needs to win this fight if he wants to be taken serious. Because if Yanez beats him, what's left for Rob Font? You know, it was looking good for a while for him, but then, you know, he lost to Aldo. He lost to Cheeto, and he has to bounce back here, because that's 3 in a row. If not, And Adrian Yanez's momentum just keeps building. He's younger, he's more hungry. That's a hard one to pick, man. I'm not picking nothing yet. Gerald Meerschaert versus Joe Pyfer. I feel like this has submission of the night written all over it. If they do submission of the night, right? Yeah, I don't have too many thoughts on that. Gonna have to watch some more tape on Joe Pyfer, but I am gonna watch this fight just because I know Gerald Meerschaert. And then Kelvin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis. This is a must-win for Kelvin Gastelum, but it's gonna be hard, man. Chris Curtis, you know, he had a great performance in his last fight against Joaquin Buckley. He knocked him out, and the momentum is on his side, man. Kelvin Gastelum is what, 1-4 or something like that, and his one win was like some C-level competition. I don't know, man. If Kelvin Gastelum loses this fight, he's probably out of the UFC, which is really unfortunate, man. Kelvin Gastelum, he's had some great fights. You know, he put on a classic with Adesanya, but he unfortunately just hasn't been the same since then. He left it all out there. All right, with all that being said, everyone, thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the face cam, let me know in the comments below. If you think I'm pretty, let me know. If you think I'm ugly, let me know. I want all the engagement. So yeah, I love you all. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video, man. I'm so hyped for UFC 287. We're gonna be dropping consistent videos, okay, about this card.